Almost every video comparing Remitly and Western Union hands you a fee table and says the cheaper one wins. This is not that video. The fee is the smallest number in this transaction, and on some transfers it is set to 0 on purpose. If you send money home to family, you have probably noticed something odd. Two apps quote what looks like the same price, and your recipient ends up with different amounts. That gap is not random. It is built into how both of these companies make money. So here is what I will do. I will show you what each service really costs once the exchange rate is counted, then how fast the money lands, and what people report when a transfer goes wrong. Remitly versus Western Union decided on the parts that do not change every quarter. I have never held an account with either one. What I did instead was open both companies' own pages and read the small print under the rate calculator, then go and read what customers say happened next. That small print is where this comparison is actually decided, and almost nobody reads it out loud. We start with the one sentence on Remitly's own homepage that explains why the rate you are quoted on day one is not the rate you keep. Number 1, the difference that decides most of this. Forget pricing for a second. Ask one question instead. Can you walk into a building, hand over cash, and have someone collect cash on the other side? Remitly is a digital sender. You pay from your bank account or your card, in the app or on the website. There is no Remitly counter anywhere. Your recipient can still collect cash, but only through partner locations that Remitly does not own. Western Union works the other way round. Its own homepage offers 3 routes side by side: send online, send in the app, or send in person. That third route runs on an agent network of more than 500,000 locations across over 200 countries and territories. The company has been doing this since 1851. That is not a small feature difference. These are 2 different businesses. One is a piece of software with payout partners. The other is a counter network that added software later. So the verdict on this chapter is simple. If either end of your transfer needs a real person behind a real desk, Western Union is not merely better here. It is the only one of the 2 that can do it at all. Number 2, what each one actually costs. Both companies charge you in 2 separate places, and only one of them looks like a charge. The first is the transfer fee, the number printed next to the word fee. The second is the exchange rate markup. That is the gap between the rate the world trades at and the rate you are handed. It never shows up as a line item because it is priced into the rate itself. Here is where Remitly's own page gets interesting. Load their US site, ask to send $1,000 to Mexico, and you get a toggle labeled welcome rate. The fee reads $1.99, then a fee discount of minus $1.99. You pay nothing. Now read the line underneath. Remitly's own words, new customers only, 1 per customer, limited time offer. And the promotional rate applies to the first $1,000 sent. So the number that makes Remitly look unbeatable is an introduction. After that first 1,000, you are on the standard rate. Independent trackers put that markup at roughly 1 to 3.7% above the mid-market rate. It moves with the currency and the speed you pick. Now here is the part I did not expect. Open Western Union's own homepage and you get the same move. A banner offering $0 in transfer fees on your first online transfer. A fee of $1.99 crossed out, replaced with 0. And the exchange rate itself crossed out and replaced with a better one. So both companies lead with a first transfer promotion. Neither is hiding it. Both put it on the front page in the largest type on the screen. Western Union then does something Remitly does not. Read the small print under their calculator, and it says, in their own words, that Western Union makes money from FX, fees and rates subject to change without notice. That is a company telling you plainly where the real cost lives. That is the trade. So the verdict here. Do not judge either of these on transfer number 1, because transfer number 1 is a marketing budget. Judge them on transfer number 4, when both promotions have expired and the exchange rate is doing all the work. Number 3. How fast the money really lands. Speed is the one axis where both of these are straight with you, because both sell it openly as a tier. Remitly splits the choice at checkout. Economy is the cheaper lane and takes around 3 to 5 business days. Express costs more and lands in minutes. You are picking between your money and your time, in the open, which is unusually clear. Western Union's speed depends more on the route than the tier. Cash pickup at an agent is often ready within minutes, which is exactly why it survives in emergencies. A bank deposit behaves like a bank deposit and takes as long as the receiving bank takes. Now, the catch that applies to both, and it is worth knowing before it happens to you, neither company controls the final step. Once money reaches a partner bank or an agent, their clock and your clock stop agreeing. The verdict? For a planned, repeating transfer where a few days does not matter, Remitly Economy is the cheaper habit. For money that has to be in someone's hand today, the agent counter still wins. Number 4, where Remitly is genuinely the better product. 3 things and all 3 are real. First, the app. Google Play shows 4.8 stars from over 1.4 million ratings. The App Store shows 4.9 from over 4.2 million. Those are enormous samples, and nobody rates a payments app that highly by accident. Second, repeat sending. Remitly is built around the same person sending to the same recipient every month. Saved recipients, tracked delivery, one clean flow. If your transfer is a routine rather than an event, that is the product designed for you. Third, reach without a branch. 175 countries from your phone at 11 at night with nobody driving anywhere. So the verdict for this chapter. Say your recipient has a bank account or a mobile wallet and you send on a schedule. Remitly is the better designed of the two, and it is not especially close. Number 5, where Western Union is the better answer. Also 3, and the first one decides real cases. First, the recipient with no bank account. Hundreds of millions of people are in that position. For them, a bank deposit is not a slower option. It is not an option at all. Those counters are the entire point. Second, coverage of difficult destinations. Over 200 countries and territories, including plenty of places a digital-only service will not reach on the last mile. Third, it is not only a money transfer company. The same counter handles bill pay, money orders, prepaid cards, and mobile top-ups. If that is already your errand, you are already standing there. The verdict, where the recipient's situation is the constraint rather than your own convenience, Western Union is the one that can actually finish the job. Number 6. What people report when it goes wrong. This is the part the fee tables leave out, and it is where I would spend your attention. Both score similarly on the big review sites. Western Union prints its own score on its homepage. 4.3 out of 5 from over 166,000 Trustpilot reviews. Remitly's figure honestly varies by source, somewhere between 4.3 and 4.6 on samples running from 29,000 up to 166,000. Treat that as a range, not a fact, but the complaints rhyme, and they rhyme for a reason. On Remitly, the pattern people describe is a transfer failing on Remitly's side while their own bank shows the payment approved. A thread on the banking subreddit last October walks through exactly that standoff. Another describes a recipient visiting several listed partner locations, and none of them had the cash or recognized the transfer. That is the risk sitting directly under Remitly's weakest structural point. It does not own those counters. On Western Union, the pattern is holds. A transfer flagged for identity verification with no notification, then a refund that takes weeks to arrive. One widely shared post describes $5,000, quoted at 0 to 4 days, still frozen 2 weeks later with no estimate offered. Here is the fair reading, and it covers both of them. Go back to January 2017. Western Union agreed to pay $586 million to settle charges from the Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice. The charges concerned fraud-induced transfers moving through its system. That was 9 years ago. The compliance tightening that followed is a large part of why holds and identity checks are normal everywhere today. So the verdict: neither of these is a scam and both are licensed. What you are really choosing between is two different failure modes: a partner that does not have your cash or a hold that does not have an end date. The verdict: 3 situations and one of them is yours. If you are sending to someone with a bank account or a mobile wallet on a regular schedule and no physical cash needs to change hands, take Remitly. Better app, cheaper habit, built precisely for that pattern. Just plan around the welcome rate being an introduction rather than a price. If your recipient has no bank account or lives somewhere a digital transfer will not reach the last mile, take Western Union. The counter network is the product and no app replaces it. And if this is a one-off, it is urgent and it has to be cash today. That is Western Union too. It is not the cheaper option. Speed you can rely on is worth paying for once. It is an expensive thing to do every month. I have put links to everything in the description. Some of them are affiliate links, so I get a small commission if you use them at no extra cost to you. So, the short version: Remitly is the better piece of software. Western Union is the bigger physical network, and the right answer is decided by the person receiving the money, not the person sending it. Now, I want to know which one you use, and more than that, which corridor you send on. Put the destination country in the comments, because the right answer genuinely changes from one destination to the next.